Hi, this is Brandon from ThirstGym.com. Today we're talking about exercise called the back squat versus bands and chains. This is a great exercise used in building your normal back squat, and we're going to combine the use of bands and chains just like the exercise says, and we're going to talk about the benefits and why you might do this, okay? So to kick things off, we're going to talk about the setup here in our monolift that we've got. So I've got a band on the bar and a chain on each side. Now when it comes to figuring out how much band tension and chains you want to add, ideally your accommodating resistance in total will be about 20 to 25% of your 1 rep max. So if you're a 300-pound squatter, you're going to need about 60, 75-ish pounds of tension. And so you might try to figure that out a little bit, but in general, you're probably going to use monster mini bands in that case. But anyways, you're going to figure out your band tension and your chain and try to get that to line up and split it about 50-50 if you can. However, what the easy way to do this is, if you already squat against bands or you already squat against chains, you can make this really simple. On your bands, just go down 1 band tension length compared to what you normally do. So in my case, for example, when I squatted, I would usually squat against orange or gray bands. I would probably go with green bands in most cases, and then 1 or 2 chains on each side, because when I squatted, I would usually squat against 3 chains on each side. Now, what I've got here is 1 chain and a red band. That's probably, for my current level of strength right now, that's probably about fair. And what that's going to do is I'm going to get the overspeed eccentrics from the bands. So what's awesome about that is they're constantly pulling down. It's going to help improve my stress shortening cycle. It is going to be a little bit more taxing than just chains. However, I'm going to decrease the amount of tension that I'm getting from there, so it is going to kind of hold me down and hunker me down a little bit, but not quite as much as if I had my normal band tension. But then we're going to add the chains, which is also going to add some instability, and it's going to deload in. So we're going to get a very similar effect in terms of the amount of load that's going to change from the bottom to the top. However, we're not going to get all the heavy band tension, which are people with elbow and shoulder issues. Maybe you're one to try to see some benefits from bands, but you don't want to use all that band tension and bang your joints up. Totally understand. That definitely sucks. So this might be a great option. The other thing is, if you don't have enough band tension available to you, so for whatever reason, this is the only bands you have are the red ones, but you have access to chains, then you get the chains on there and get the total amount of accommodating resistance you want. So there are a lot of reasons and whys you could do this, but for the most part, it is just another variation and tool in the toolbox to help you get some new PRs. Now, I'm going to briefly describe go over the exercise and demo it for you. However, it's just a regular back squat. So we've got videos and stuff like that on our YouTube channel if you want an in-depth cover of what your back squat should look like and what you're trying to do. So I'm going to give you some demonstration reps here, and then we'll talk about some programming. I get underneath here on the traps, drive my feet in, let the weight settle specifically at the top because of the chains, and then I'll perform a couple reps. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to mention really quick, because I have my bands on band pegs, I have my chains on the outside of the bar here. I would put a clip or something there just to make sure that stays good and solid. But as long as the chain's hanging on there, it really shouldn't move that much, but I don't want it to catch on my band pegs here. Now, when it comes to programming for an exercise like this, again, this is a great 1 rep max variation. Get a little bit of band tension, a little bit of chain tension, and then you can just slide the chains off, add the weight, put the chains back on. Pretty easy to work with. And, like I said, it gives you another variation to keep track of that may help you. The other option is with your dynamic effort work. I would say I'm not a big fan of supplemental work with exercise like this, and it's too much work to deal with. Just use as your main your main max effort work, and you should be good. Now your dynamic effort work, again, another variation, another tool in the toolbox. Maybe you're just trying to figure, you don't have access to all the specialty bars or different ways to change up your dynamic effort training, then I do think this is another great variation, because I think you could do it with bands, you could do it with just chains, you could do bands and chains, you can mix up how many bands and how many chains you have. You can really start playing around with quite a bit of different variations in terms of what you want, in terms of how you program it and put it on there. Now, when you program an exercise like that, about 40 to 55% of your 1 rep max is probably going to be the bar weight. So we talked about that 300-pound squatter. We're talking about 50%, so about 150 pounds, give or take, on the bar. And then we would have our bands and our chains, and that's what we would do. We'd probably do that for anywhere from about 8 to 12 doubles or triples. You can also do sets of 5, but again, you got to decrease your sets. There's a lot of different variations of your speed work, your dynamic effort work, in terms of how you want to program that. So again, that's a lot to throw at you, but again, big take-home message. It's a different variation that you can put in your toolbox. You're going to get the benefits of bands, you're going to get the benefits of chains. all in one exercise, and it's also just a great variation that you can use if you're limited on equipment or limited on your options for your dynamic effort work. This is one way to see some benefit, is you can just buy an easy loader and some chains, and now you've got more variations at your disposal for your back squat. If you got any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. Thanks. Have a great day.